Welcome back to the Wardgrove of Woe, where today we're going to be going over the Maggotkin of Nurgle. First up is probably their best Battleline option, the Putrid Blight Kings. These guys are your bread and butter for most Nurgle lists. They have a basic stat line of 4-inch move, 8 bravery, 4 wounds, but 5 for the leader, and a 4-up save. Their weapons are the Blighted weapons. They have a 1-inch reach, 3 attacks each, hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, no rend, 1 damage. Their unique abilities is one unit can have a banner, which gives them a +1 bravery, and another model can have a toxin, which gives a +1 to run and charge rolls. They have a unique ability where in the hero phase, you roll a dice for each unit, including friendly units within 3 inches, and on a 6-up it deals D3 mortal wounds to enemies or heals D3 wounds to Nurgle units. Now what sets the Blight Kings apart is their mega exploding hits on 6s. For each 6 you roll on your hit roll, you deal an additional 6 hits. So you can turn the 15 or so attacks that the Blight Kings get by default into crazy numbers like 30 or 50 if you roll high enough and you really spike that hard. Blight Kings are incredibly annoying to get rid of with their high wound and their above average save. Additionally, if they are near a Harbinger of Decay, he gives them a ward save, which just makes them even harder to get rid of. Additionally, they throw buckets of dice at enemy units, so even though they don't have a lot of damage or a lot of rend, you're going to be winning most of your fights by volume of attack. But since they don't have rend on their attacks, they work best against lightly armored units. If you're wanting to maximize the Blight Kings, I would take them in units of 5. Taking them any larger makes positioning a lot harder, and you're getting diminishing returns if you go in larger units. Next up are the Plaguebearers. These are your standard rank and file demon infantry units. They have a basic stat line of 4-inch move, 10 bravery, 1 wound, and a 5-up save. Their melee profile is the Plague Sword, a 1-attack, 1-inch reach weapon. The leader has 2 attacks, hitting on 4s, wounding on 3s, no rend, 1 damage. One unit can be a banner, which on a battle shock roll of 1 brings back D6 models, which is always helpful. And one model can have a pipe, which forces enemies to reroll battle shock rolls of 1. They have an innate 5-up ward save, and if there is more than 10 models in the unit, they have a -1 to hit, or enemies have a -1 to hit them. And if they are near Nurgle demon heroes, they get a +1 to save. Plaguebearers are your good old cannon fodder. You want these guys to just clog the lines of your enemy and take wounds for your more valuable units. If you're wanting to maximize Plaguebearers, take them in squads of 10 to 20. Because their entire role is to absorb damage, so if you are above 10, you get that -1 to hit, so they can absorb more hits than they regularly would. Now we move on to the conditional Maggotkin of Nurgle Battleline. Here we have the Puscoil Blight Lords. In order for these guys to be Battleline, you need to have a Lord of Affliction General. They have a above average movement of 8 inches, 8 bravery, 7 wounds, and a 5-up save. And they also have a whole host of melee options to them. They have the Blighted Weapons profile from the Putrid Blight Kings. Some of them have access to the Dolorous Toxin, and all of them have access to the Foul Mouth Parts and Venomous Sting. The Toxin has a 1-inch reach, 1 attack, hitting on 4s, wounding on 3s, 2 rend, and 2 damage. The Foul Mouth Parts has 1-inch reach, 2 attacks, 3s and 3s to hit and wound, no rend, 1 damage. Their Venomous Sting has 1 attack, hitting on 4s, wounding on 3s, 1 rend, and d3 damage. They have a 5-up ward save innately, and they have the same ability that the Blight Kings have, where they can either heal Nurgle units or deal damage to foes. And similarly to the Blight Kings, they have the 6 to hit Mega Explode for d6 additional damage, or d6 additional hits, excuse me. Think of the Pescoil Blight Lords as a faster version of a Blight King. They are kind of a heavy cavalry unit, and they're one of the fastest units Nurgle has access to. If you're wanting to take Pescoil Blight Lords, take them in squads of 2 to 4. Even though they are heavy cavalry, since they come in squads of 2, they don't suffer from the more than 5 units problem with cohesion that most cavalry units suffer from. So you can reinforce them and still be pretty well off as long as you're below 5 models. If they're near Lords of Affliction, they get some good buffs, such as with Lord of Affliction command ability, he can double their movement. So for a faction that is really slow like Nurgle, these guys are super quick, and they're a useful tool to have in your back pocket. Lastly, we have the Demon Toads of Nurgle. This is an interesting one because it must be taken in the Temerkhan's Horde subfaction / army. They're odd in that they're kind of misfit because they come from Forge World. And if you don't know what Forge World is, it is a subsidiary to Games Workshop, the producers of Age of Sigmar. And they don't really have much support. Onto the stat line, they have a 7-inch move, 10 bravery, 4 wounds, and a 5-up save. Their melee profile, Yawning Maws, has 1-inch reach, 2 attacks, hitting on 4s, wounding on 4s, no rend, d3 damage. They also have an incredibly short ranged attack, their Grappling Tongues, where it's 1 attack each, 7-inch reach, 4s and 4s to hit and wound, no rend, and 1 damage. They have an innate 5+ ward, and 6s to hit explode to get you to score 2 hits. When I was making this, I honestly couldn't think of a reason you'd ever want to bring them. They don't do much, and what they do, Blight Kings and other options that Nurgle has access to just does it better. They're slightly faster than most Nurgle units, but just use Pescoil Blight Lords for that. And also being Forge World, they're insanely expensive and the sculpts are not high quality. So I would just kind of avoid them. But if you do want to take them in squads of 3. That'll be all for the Maggotkin of Nurgle. The standout stars here are definitely the Blight Kings and the Pescoil Blight Lords. Plaguebearers are nice, but they are just cannon fodder. And I would unironically avoid the Plague Toads like the plague. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like or a comment. And if you have a suggestion for a future video, please leave it in the comments below.